they talked about bringing in I didn't know if your county had talked about bringing in better cable or whatever. Just not outlying.
There's wireless all over hooked up to the city buildings and everything else. And if you're within 3 blocks of that particular building, you get great internet and all that kind of stuff.
I was going to say, so you just get in your car and check it out.
I probably get better in my motorhome because I've got one of those Wi-Fi blaster units in the motorhome.
What's the Wi-Fi? Like a boost? welcome to the Pacific Northwest District Club Excellence Conversations, the first ever virtual education sessions dedicated to helping you, the members, come together to get some tips on how to make your club the very best that it can be. My name is Melanie Bozak, and I'm serving as your governor this year of the great Pacific Northwest District of Kiwanis. We are coming to you live from the soundstage in our district office in Gladstone, Oregon, for this exciting new concept in how we can deliver education and club improvement ideas directly to you, the members. I am pleased to be working with Governor-elect Lonnie Johnson today and our fabulous district staff members Ed Luttrell and Gary Beller. Now you may well ask, why are we changing what has historically been CLE, or Club Leadership Education, and what's in it for you? Excuse me. I came up with the idea of moving away from CLEs this year because, quite honestly, it was normally limited to incoming officers, and the attendance had gone down significantly from year to year. I wanted to pursue a goal of having meetings where all members could come together to work toward club excellence. It's my opinion that it takes the whole club working together in order to achieve it, not just the officers of the club. Every member is a leader in one form or another, whether as an elected officer, a committee chair, or even a brand new member with new ideas. We all have a stake in helping our clubs succeed. So what started out as regional meetings that followed that principal goal of all member inclusion have now become virtual meetings that can be attended and enjoyed from the comfort of your home. You don't have to get up early, travel several hours to get to the meeting, spend over 6 hours in the meeting, and then travel back home several hours. The change to the virtual setting has actually become a huge benefit, in my opinion, and maybe one that we can continue. That's up to our future district leaders. This pandemic has been an immense difficulty for all of us, and it necessitated many changes to our daily lives and our Kiwanis activities. It has brought us new ways of meeting and thinking creatively. What the result of this pandemic will be remains to be seen. At the heart of this conversation today is the goal of helping your club address the issues of growth and service as we recover from the disruption of the past 5 months. We don't have to fear the future if we work together to create the solutions that'll benefit our clubs. Let's take the risk of growing our clubs, engaging our members, and turn worries and challenges into new friends and members. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with live streaming, if you're signed on to YouTube, you can access the chat feature. That's how to ask your questions and make comments if you're interested. We do have someone monitoring the questions and the comments, and we will answer as many as we have time for. As a backup, if there is a technical glitch, you can send an email to dsec@pnwkiwanis.org, and we'll check it during the breaks. Now, the next 3 hours are going to go by fast and be very interesting, so get ready for a great time. I'm sure that you're aware of the fact that Kiwanis has 6 objects that Kiwanians live by and incorporate into their daily lives. Now we are going to hear the history of how the 6 objects of Kiwanis were developed, and this was researched and presented by Bill Glenn.
It's always important to remember who we are as Kiwanians and how we got here. So let's do a brief history review. Kiwanis was formed in 1915 to gather some businessmen together to get group insurance rates. This also provided an opportunity for business networking. They put together articles of association for the legal purposes, but beyond that there were few formal goals or guidelines. Then Kiwanis founder Alan Brown presented the motto, "Service brings its own reward," and presented the Kiwanis Creed, which contained 12 very wordy articles that gave somewhat of a guideline. At the first International Convention in 1918, delegates approved the first Constitution, which referred to a group of underlying policies. These were the first objects of Kiwanis. The 1919 convention saw the adoption of more formal policies emphasizing the spiritual qualities of character like courage, imagination, integrity, vision, faith, and hope. In 1920, the original motto, "We Build," was adopted. In 1923, Kiwanis decided they needed a more concise and focused constitution, so they formed a constitutional committee to draft it. The committee worked on the project for an entire year, and the 1924 convention saw the adoption of a major revision of the Constitution. As part of that Constitution, Article 2 laid out 6 revised policies. These policies are what we now know as the objects of Kiwanis. In 1925 and 26, the board expanded the policies to include vocational guidance for young men and women and an objective to create a professional standard for businesses and business professional people. 1926-27 saw the change of wording from policies to objectives. In subsequent years, each board added and subtracted objectives and refined the goals of the organization, but the original 6 objects remained the same. The objects of Kiwanis are stated in a specific order, and though there are 6 of them, they're not numbered, as all are equal in importance and each can stand on its own value. We'll take them in the order presented. The first object of Kiwanis: to give primacy to the human and spiritual rather than to the material values of life. Much discussion of this came about after the drafting of the object in 1923. The committee's big concern was about the use of the word spiritual. Some felt that the word should be replaced with ethical. New York Governor Lou Mitchell, the author of the object, explained that this was not intended to be a religious reference. Then International President Perry Patterson agreed. He stated that spiritual has nothing to do with theology, but instead speaks to the qualities of mankind, like courage, imagination, integrity, vision, faith, hope. He stated that not everyone believes in the Creator, but anyone can be spiritual. He felt it was the duty of churches to deal with man's relationship to the Creator, and Kiwanis' duty is to deal with man's relationships to man. Thus, the committee approved the simple but direct statement that this object made. It is tied so closely to our mission of service, first to the human and the spiritual, to give primacy to the human and spiritual rather than the material values of life.
Linda's. Hello! I hope you enjoyed the history and the first object of Kiwanis and are looking forward to hearing the rest of them. Team building is an important part of the success of your Kiwanis Club. And this morning, we're going to start our team building session with a game. I'm calling it, "What can you do with this?" There really is a purpose to the game. So, in my local hardware store, there's a sign by the duct tape. It says, "America's most useful tool." I happen to think that may be true. I know there are certainly lots of uses around my house. So now I want you to make a quick list of all the possible uses for duct tape in the chat box. When you have a few of them written down, maybe only 2, please hit enter and send it in to us so that we can get started. We're standing by to hear your answers. I'm going to kick you off with a couple of them. For example, my husband Steve does not like to throw away his socks, especially if it only has one little tiny hole in it. So he uses duct tape to darn them. I will say they aren't very nice to look at after they've been through the laundry. So send me some ideas. Send me some uses. Come on. Have you ever repaired a pair of shoes with them? There's one. I also have seen these contests, if you will, about the most unique items being made from duct tape. Those are cool. Lynn says, patching hoses. All right, I like that. Lynn, I don't know how to pronounce your name, or I would say it. I think it's Kioti. Paul says, keep the cover to the furnace closed, or mount a picture on a frame. I think I haven't heard of the picture. That's pretty cool. Excuse me. Brian Egger, he says, oh wait, they're going by quickly. Repaired his backpack. Brian, you win a prize. That's one I haven't heard before. Daryl Bowen says mending pipe. Mary Stock says bookbinding. Jerry, what did you say? Repair Quigley's bed when he chews on it. I like that one too. Renee from Alaska says, make a purse. Bob, fix a hose. Tape a box. Cracks in tire covers in cars. Thank you, Tracy. We got lots of ideas coming in here. Okay, I lost my place here. Gag Quigley when he barks. Jerry, don't do that. George Delbert, temporary secure a side view mirror that got clipped. Okay, I've seen cars being repaired with duct tape. Linda Newman, connect Christmas light strings together for outside use. I'd use electrical tape, but you could be right. Richard Steiner, fix tears in the tractor seat. Yep, that's one I've seen quite often. Anybody else got any funny ones? Let's just make something up. What was the one that we heard last week while I was gone that I loved?
Oh, repair mistakes.
Oh yeah, repairing mistakes, right across your mouth. But there was another one. Oh, how to keep all your grandbabies in tow and wrapped up. That was kind of funny. Anything else? Great. Well, thank you so much for all of that. As you can see by this list, the more of us that we have on the team, the more creative and longer the list gets. That's the point of the whole thing. We accomplish so much more, and we can be much more creative with the use of a team than one person trying to come up with all the answers. Your club is a team, some large and some small, but all of us working together make the team much more powerful. So now I am pleased to present our past distinguished district governor, Roger Bell, for his words of wisdom for you about team building.
Hi there, Kiwanians. My name's Roger Bell, and the title of this Club Excellence conversation is Releasing the Power of Your Members. Now, team is a word that's probably overused in almost every organization. But the fact is, for Kiwanis, how well your officers and committees work together as teams during this next year will determine the success of your club. As they come together either as officers, committees, or members, they don't always work together as a team. So that's why we're going to start out with talking about the principles of a team and how you release the power of your members. The first principle is that many heads are always better than one, even than a genius. If you have a genius on your committee, great. But the power is when you combine with every member their experiences and knowledge to bring forth a better result. And that's releasing the power. When you have that release of all heads combined as a total addition, not an average, of the members' experience and knowledge. This doesn't take away from that person who is extremely experienced and knowledgeable in what goes on in your club or that particular team that they're working on, but it only adds to that by bringing along the other members for that. The second principle is teams have ownership of the vision. Now, what do I mean by vision? Vision is the goal that your team is set out to accomplish. It's the essence of what they're doing as a team. And that vision, every member must know that they have ownership of it, that they can do the things they need to do to accomplish the vision, that they have that personal ownership. Now, I would say as an example for my club that we have 22 functioning teams that go through. Now, that's a lot for our club, but they're teams that have to work together and go through, and they all know that they have ownership of their vision to go through. Now, the third principle is the leader facilitates each member to contribute to the team. This isn't saying the leader's way or no way, or my way or the highway for you, but this is saying that every member's ideas, experience, and knowledge should be heard by the team, that everyone is important. And the most important thing the leader can do is ensure that each and every single member on the team is heard to go through. The last principle we'll talk about is teams bring everyone along. By that, I mean that teams raise up the level of everyone. They raise up your experience level. They raise up your knowledge. And they allow each member to grow, to become better leaders, and maybe take over as a team leader of that team or some new team coming along. But the fact is, everyone on the team brings the other members along for growth and fulfilling potential, and thus release the power of the members in your team. So, I'm the team leader. What now? Well, first you have to understand that you must share the vision with the entire team. That everyone on your team must know what the ultimate goal is or why your team exists to accomplish that vision. Next, you have to develop a list of skills that are needed to accomplish your vision. Now, those might be anything that helps you arrive at the ultimate vision. For example, if you're going to sell raffle tickets, you might want to have someone with some sales experience on your team. Or if you're preparing a dinner, you might want to have someone with a little bit of catering experience or food preparation. Those are examples of the skills that you'd be looking for to fill your mission accomplishment. The next thing you have to do is invest some time into recruiting your team. Now, this accomplishes several things, but most important and first here in this is that each person you ask to be a part of your team feels important. They feel valued because you asked them to be on the team. You didn't just pass around a list at a club meeting and say, sign up if you're interested in being on my team. But you singled them out and you asked those people to be in. Now don't forget that there is value in adding brand new members. And you might get surprised that they bring some skills that you weren't aware of to go through. So invest the time, ask people to be on your team. And then you have to allow your team to develop a plan of action, how they're going to get there, how they're going to accomplish it, and set the intermediate goals that allow that to happen for ultimate vision accomplishment. As an example, I would say for my own club, we had a president who said, we're going to have a net gain in membership by year's end of 10 members. And I thought, oh, wow. Do something reasonable. We haven't had a net growth of 10 in years and years. You know this guy probably. His name's Steve Emhoff. And I'll tell you, I was wrong because he put together a team that set intermediate goals for accomplishing all the different areas, not just one path, to have that vision accomplishment. And by the way, they had a net growth of 11 new members by year's end, just as an example. Another thing might be, as an example, if your team has the vision of a chicken dinner fundraiser, you might want to have intermediate goals going through to set different things for that. But they would go through and set up the different aspects of that. And then, in the end, the last thing you have to do is give authority to your team to make changes, to make the things happen that need to for ultimate vision accomplishment. Now, on that chicken dinner team, they might want to change their advertising. They might want to advertise to a different segment of the community. Or they might want to say, hey, we need a different dessert here, something really fancy with that. Or they might want to say, hey, let's add a silent auction with this dinner and raise even more money. Or have a raffle during the dinner, which would add value to that also. They need to understand that they have the authority to make those changes as long as they remain focused on vision accomplishment. That is releasing the power of your members to be all that they can be and accomplish great things. So, as the leader, you understand, you develop, you invest, you allow, and you give that authority that releases the power of your members for vision accomplishment. Okay, the team is formed and it's functioning. So how do I release the power of team? Well, first, there's evaluation. Constant evaluation is essential to continued success. You mean we got to evaluate every person? Oh, no. What I mean is you're evaluating how the team's working together, how they handle disagreement, how they handle conflict, how they handle agreement and success. Those things need to be evaluated to show improvement in how the team's coming together and releasing power within them as you evaluate how they do that. I attended a seminar last year. It happened to be for the city that I'm a councilman on, but the principle was the same. It was, how do you handle conflict on a team? How you do that is true here too, just as well as it is how you handle success. Those things need to be evaluated and measured for team growth and individuals coming together for more fluid action in vision accomplishment. The next thing is expansion. I mean, expanding your team for added value. When you see that you have a skill set that's not on your team and it would really help the team develop, go recruit someone to fill that who has that skill set. And it will bring more value to the team as a whole. And it'll release the power of the others when you have someone else coming into that. And the other aspect of that is, life just has a way of dealing different things to us. People move away. People lose interest and drop off of a committee, or they have commitments that they can't make it. So you need to be expanding and filling your team. When you see that there's one of those skills that you don't have, go recruit someone who has that skill. Ask them to bring their value to your team. And you're releasing the entire team then to have a stronger vision accomplishment. And the last thing is to celebrate achievement of your goals along the way. Now, this isn't new to me. You might remember recognizing accomplishments together was a theme I used for many years. And it's important. We have to tell everyone that they're important. This isn't saying the team leader did this, but the team members did it. Everyone. We have to find a way to celebrate those accomplishments of intermediate goals as we move along. Then people feel more valued, more wanted, and they're more willing to participate in the ultimate vision accomplishment. If you follow all of these things we've talked about today, the principles, the tasks to go through, and then you do your evaluation, and you are expanding, but you're also celebrating your successes, you will be more successful. You will be more successful in vision accomplishment and team growth. Thank you for listening today and participating. And I would say, if you apply these things within your club on all of your teams during this next year, you will have a stronger club and you'll see the value of your members being released for vision accomplishment on every single team. Thank you again. Good morning. Glad everyone could attend. We have opportunity for you to ask a few questions about this segment of the presentation today. So send in those questions, and while we're waiting, I would say one of my favorite questions that's come in the past that's really true is, as a leader, sometimes you want to say, I know where I want to go, and it's just a whole lot easier if I just do it and get there, and I don't have to do anything, but there's still growth on the team because I explained what I did.
Now, is that a good approach to take? And my answer to that is absolutely not. Because you might get a result that you hadn't intended. You might get the result that people say, well, he didn't want my opinion anyway, or my opinion just isn't that important and to go through. So you don't want to do that. And besides that, you're downplaying the value of releasing the power of the team, because Ralph and Susie over here might both have had very good ideas to present, and maybe some change that would have been extremely benefitful to the entire team and the ultimate goal accomplishment. So I would say try and do that. Involve everyone's opinion and listen to them. What skill sets should you have on your team to make it successful? Well, that's an excellent question. And I would say that it depends on what the vision of your team is. Why was your team formed, and why are you putting it together? What do you want to accomplish? So, like I talked about a chicken dinner in the presentation, that might take different skill sets than if you're organizing a youth athletic activity like soccer matches or tournament or something. You'd want entirely different skill sets on those. So depending on your vision, that's what you would look to see to recruit people for those skill sets needed to accomplish that. From Lynn, how do you deal with personal agendas and negative nannies? Excellent question, Lynn. And sometimes we always have to do that part. That was part of the evaluation process of how do you address conflict and difference of opinions and those things. And one way I would say is, as a team leader, you can in a positive way, kind of interrupt the person who's always talking the negative things about what's going on, and not confront them, but interrupt and say, Jim, do you agree with this? And if so, why do you agree with that? Or do you disagree? And if that's the case, why do you disagree? So you're attempting to get other people involved and hear their opinions, and it also accomplishes getting more members involved besides just hearing the negativity coming from that one person. How do I involve people on the team when you don't know them very well? Great question. So when you have people coming on, you want to make it clear as a team leader that everyone's opinion is going to be heard, that everyone has something positive to offer, and we're going to draw that out of people. So how do you get there? You do that by systematically asking each member to participate on different things by asking them questions. And here's one tip that I would suggest: don't ask questions that can be answered with a yes or a no, or if you do, follow it up immediately with a question like, can you expand on that? Or why is that different than what we've already heard? Something like that. And that's a learned skill that everyone can learn, is to ask questions that require more than one or two word answers. From Paul, how do you infuse newer members in club projects where the seasoned veterans have done them every year? I like that question also, because that comes down to the crux of Kiwanis clubs and their development. We want to involve all of our members in our club process, and And one of those ways is by asking them to participate on teams. And, in some cases, if you see someone with extremely valid skill sets, you might want to ask them if they would be a co-leader on that, or even a leader on a team, and let other team members develop by hearing what they have to say. Always a difficult situation to go through, but goes back to the first thing I talked about, and that's the value of team is in everyone being heard. And even if you have that genius on the team, they can learn also, and other members do, and they feel a valued part of the process if they're involved in that way. Well, we're going to hear here in just a couple of minutes from our district secretary, Ed Luttrell, on what's going on at the district and international levels. And we'll move forward. And once again, I thank everyone for being a participant in today's session. Thank you. Enjoy.
Hello, I'm Ed Luttrell, your PNW District Secretary and Executive Director. To understand your role as a Lieutenant Governor, it is helpful to understand the structure of Kiwanis. The work of Kiwanis is primarily conducted at the club level, and many members never venture outside that portion of the Kiwanis structure. However, you have chosen to expand your knowledge and participation in Kiwanis, and I welcome you on that journey. Kiwanis is governed by its bylaws and a secondary set of rules called policies and procedures. Each chartered level of the organization has these two documents as fundamental governing documents. So in real terms, what does that mean? Kiwanis International, or KI, is the parent, and the districts and clubs cannot be in conflict with their bylaws or policies and procedures. To ensure this, the bylaws of districts and clubs must be approved by KI. KI is governed by elected and appointed officers and trustees who serve as the board of directors. The trustees and officers are elected by 2 delegates from each club, as well as the current officers of the districts. This includes you as a Lieutenant Governor. The KI bylaws clearly state that a Kiwanis district shall exist to help Kiwanis clubs and Kiwanis International advance the objects, objectives, policies, and strategic goals of Kiwanis. The Pacific Northwest District of Kiwanis International, we call ourselves simply the PNW, has been in existence since January 17, 1919. It is composed of roughly 270 clubs and 7,000 members. At the annual district convention, the House of Delegates is responsible for the election of officers and the updating of the bylaws. Each club is entitled to 3 delegates, and all past lieutenant governors and the current elected and appointed officers are delegates at large. The board of directors of the PNW is made up of the officers of the district. There are 3 elected officers: the governor-elect, and the immediate past governor, and 2 appointed officers, the treasurer and the secretary, and the lieutenant governors of each division within the district, who by virtue of their position are officers of the district. The board of directors is responsible for oversight and setting the policies and procedures of the PNW. The work of the PNW is carried out in several ways. The educational work is under the direction of the governor-elect, and the focus and priorities of the year are the responsibilities of the governor. The team that will carry out the work is made up of chairs and committees and are appointed by the governor. The administration of the district is overseen by the treasurer and secretary. The secretary serves as the executive director of the PNW and manages the office and tasks that need to be completed. The district has 3 employees: the secretary, executive director, our publications IT guru, Gary Beller, and Kathy Hart, who is the administrative clerk. The office staff carries out most of the administrative, record-keeping, and communication efforts of the district. They also are involved with all the events and training done by the district. Normal office hours at our Gladstone office are 8 to 5 Monday through Friday. In a nutshell, that is the structure of Kiwanis and your district. Now, the real challenge is how to make use of this structure and these resources to make your time as a lieutenant governor productive for you, your clubs, and your district. The philosophy of the office staff is first to do our part to create success for the Kiwanis organization in the Pacific Northwest. Second is to provide assistance to the governor and governor-elect to aid them in achieving success with their goals. In working with the office staff, remember that your primary starting point is with me. Your office staff works as a team, and each person is focused on the tasks that match their skill sets. We do have priorities based upon upcoming events and unexpected situations, but our goal is to help all levels of Kiwanis to accomplish great things. The use of technology is important, and if you need a few lessons, we can assist you. It is important that you become familiar with Kiwanis Connection and explore what information is available to you. Each member has a page that they can access and modify. Each club has a secretary's dashboard that is fully accessed by the secretary and assistant secretary and partially by the president. As the lieutenant governor, you can access many reports and information, just as the governors and some of the district chairs do. If you need help with assisting clubs that are having problems with Kiwanis Connection, which has replaced Portal Buzz, let me know, as I have the most access in the district. The information in Kiwanis Connection is critical. It is what KI and the PNW uses for all of our communications. The directory is drawn straight from the database, and if clubs don't submit their election report through the secretary's dashboard, there is no other way to know what the correct information is. Member information is critical, especially phone and email. If you can impress upon your club secretaries that the information in the dashboard is important to the organization, that would be a tremendous accomplishment. As an example, the Builder is our district's magazine, and without a complete and accurate address, your fellow members will not receive it. The plus of Kiwanis Connection is that there are no paper forms for the secretary to fill out beyond delegate forms for the international and district conventions. Just to clarify, KI and the district never sell or releases the information in our membership database, and only approved information is distributed to our membership. The information is as secure as KI can make it. I'd like to share some essential information on communication to help you. If anyone checks the box in the dashboard not to receive information from KI or from the district, they don't get anything. If someone unsubscribes from a district email list, they unsubscribe from all emails. If a member wants some things but not others, encourage them to use the delete button rather than the total elimination option. The website of the PNW is designed primarily as a resource for you. Everything that we can provide you to assist you in performing your task as a lieutenant governor is there. As you can see from this screenshot, there is a lot of information at the click of a mouse. If you scroll over to the blue bar near the top of the page, the lead category gives you choices that you will need to utilize as an officer of the district. The serve category gives you choices on our projects and partners. The events category gives you the choice for each district event that you might be interested in or required to attend. Resources gives you choices for commonly requested information from both KI and the PNW. I would suggest that you just explore the website and become familiar with where the various documents are located. There is a lot of information on our site, and if you find something that is out of date, just shoot me an email. The annual directory is now an electronic document only that is emailed to you. It isn't posted on the website any longer, as the criminal element of the web uses that data for phishing, and we are striving to protect our members from such activity. Every current member may request a PDF copy of the latest version of the directory via the website. Your district currently has a blog. We post videos and podcasts, as well as the Builder magazine, which is published 4 times a year, with 2 issues as a print copy mailed to each member. You are encouraged to submit information that can be used in any of these formats and to showcase achievements of your division's clubs. I hope you've gained a little insight into Kiwanis and the operation of your PNW. If you have any questions, I encourage you to send your questions to dsec@pnwkiwanis.org, and I will get back to you.
The next object was probably the easiest one to add to this list: to encourage the daily living of the Golden Rule in all human relationships. The concept of doing unto others as you would have them do unto you goes back into ancient history, around 2000 to 1600 BC, when in Egypt it was stated, "Now this is the command, do to the doer to make him do." Much later, in the 600 to 300 BC era, a reference has been found that says, "That which you hate to be done to you, do not do to another." That statement was taken from the negative point of view, but it does state the rule. The earliest usage of the Golden Rule, or the Golden Law, as we know it, is from the Anglican Church in Britain, as theologians and preachers started to use the phrase widely. This began around 1604 AD. Today, the thought is used worldwide. Although the phrasing changes from one user to another, the sentiment always remains the same. So it's only natural that the Golden Rule would be included as part of our Kiwanis fabric, to encourage the daily living of the Golden Rule in all human relationships. It should be noted that part of the job that the Constitution Committee agreed upon early in their discussions was the idea that each of the objects should all be stated in one sentence, making them easier to remember. The subject of general conduct and bearing was high on the committee's minds when they brought this object to the table for discussion. To promote the adoption and the application of higher social, business, and professional standards. Alan Brown's original Kiwanis Creed made a lot of references to business practices and ethics, as part of the general direction of Kiwanis at the time was leaning toward trade rather than service. Most of his 12 articles had some reference to those 2 items. He was concerned that Kiwanis should be viewed as being an above-reproach organization whose standards would never be questioned. The committee agreed with that sentiment, but wanted to consolidate his thoughts. As with the other objects, the phrasing today seems a bit formal and stilted, but the words and their sentiments still ring true today. To promote the adoption and the application of higher social, business, and professional standards.
I took the time to attend the President and Secretary trainings last month when they were first released. They were full of good, basic information.
I believe they provide the foundation you need for a successful year. Hopefully by now you have your leadership guide, which reflects the information you were given during the webinars. Keep your leadership guide handy as you progress in this year. It can act as a reminder of your duties, as well as a great place to keep notes. One great part of this leadership guide is the resources section, found in the last chapter. Most of the answers you seek can be found through those pages. Keeping notes during your year will help your successor understand more of what to expect. Communication with your predecessor and successor is the key to allowing for smooth transitions from year to year. Of course, if you are the notorious secretary for life or treasurer for life, this doesn't really apply to you. In this case, however, I strongly encourage you to have someone in your club that understands your job and how to perform your duties, just in case. One chapter that I was happy to see included was on the membership committee. This chapter will give you a great basic understanding of what a membership chair and/or committee can do. That includes fun ways to recruit new members, who you might target for membership, what to do when you get a new member, and how to get and keep that new member engaged in your club and projects. All of these parts are incredibly important in keeping your club active and effective in your community. Every single member of your club plays an important role. Whether officer, committee chair, or active member, all play an important part of bettering your team. The Kiwanis International Training Modules are available on the KI website for those of you who were unable to attend the June training. Remember, we are here to serve the children. Keeping your Kiwanis Club resilient in your community will enable you to become better at serving those children. I hope that you will take advantage of KI's training. We will now give you a 5-minute break to stretch your legs and get ready to explore the fun and advantages of working with members that have different personality traits. See you in 5.
Good morning and welcome back from your break. Today we're going to talk about true colors as it relates to personality and teamwork in the Kiwanis world. For those of you who have not taken your test, it's located on the CEC event page on the PNW website. For those of you who have taken your test, add up the numbers according to the guide at the bottom of the page. Your highest score is your dominant color. So to give you a little background, it was introduced in 1978 by Don Lowry. It combines work of Hippocrates, Jung, Myers-Briggs, and Keirsey, and their concepts of human behavior. It's much easier to remember and apply than Myers-Briggs. So the purpose of this is to use this information to improve teamwork in your club. Perhaps you have some personalities that are clashing and you want to take a look at this and see how they relate and how you could make it easier. To identify the commonalities. You guys may have more in common than you realize. To acknowledge the individuality. What are those wonderful traits on your team? To appreciate the gifts of others. And to also value the methods of others. Just because those aren't your methods, it does not mean that they should be value added. What you don't want to do is use this as a label or a stereotype. You don't want to use this to make excuses for poor behavior. And you certainly don't want to change other people. Scores. People usually have characteristics from all four color styles. One or two colors are typically dominant. The highest score, and that's your dominant color. And you're going to see a lot of familiar attributes as we go through this. And you are comfortable in displaying these characteristics. And they just happen automatically. Your second highest, that might be a major influence on your first color. It might be interchangeable with your first color. The third and fourth colors, well, they're kind of unnatural for you. They're not normal behavior for you. They're probably underdeveloped because you haven't used a lot of these traits. They may be things that you actually admire in others, but at the same time, it could cause the most conflict with others. So we're going to talk a little bit about blues. Some of the traits about blues are that they're very, very optimistic. So these are the people that have something good to say about most ideas. Blues are typically very accepting, so they might be the person to reach out to that new member and feel like they want to mentor them a little bit. They're extremely supportive. So if the president has an idea and they want to bring it to fruition, you want those blue people to help out. They're caretakers. They're just natural caretakers. So they might be the person that wants to greet people at the door. They might be the person that someone's having problems or someone's ill, and they're the perfect person to write that get well card on behalf of the club. Blues are enthusiastic, so they're your cheerleaders. Blues are passionate and romantic. They're often peacemakers. So if you are agreeing to disagree, or not agreeing to disagree at a board meeting, they're often the person that will come to a place where you can all get along. Blues are extremely cooperative, so they're fairly easy to work with in that sense. They're often spiritual people, and they're extremely people-oriented. But the stressors that come with a blue personality is blues often feel conflict. They often feel isolated, so you might notice that if a blue person presents an idea and it's not accepted, they may shut down and they may not be talking. So watch out for those traits. Blues often feel rejection. So again, if they have an idea and it's rejected, it's just natural for them to feel that way. They are often known for negativity. And more often than not, blues feel like they're being used. They feel like they're contributing to society, but people aren't really appreciating them. Sometimes they can be apathetic, and sometimes there's a little insincerity involved. Again, blues do feel a lack of acknowledgement or appreciation, going back to that being used. Sometimes blues are not being genuine as a result, and maybe they don't share as easily. But one of the stronger traits in blues is they just don't know how to say no. So blues, they see themselves as caring, trusting, giving everybody the benefit of the doubt. They're tirelessly working for a cause. They think they're supportive. And they're genuinely interested, or they see themselves are genuinely interested in others. But others may see them, as a result, as perhaps being too emotional, taking things too personally. Maybe they think they're naive because they are reacting that way. They may see them as overcommitted. Because of their caring nature and caretaking nature, others may view them as smothering. And then some may see them as just nosy. As it relates to Kiwanis, when you're talking to a blue, make sure you acknowledge them. Make them feel value added and important. Be personable with them. Blues genuinely have softer personalities, and they want to feel value added. They want to feel like they're making a difference. Listen for their feelings, because they are reactive. They may be feeling something, and you may find it good to pull them aside and have a private talk with them. Hear them out. Again, they often feel like they're unappreciated or being used. So really, really make a point to listen to those with blue personalities. Act as a feedback sandwich. Kind of like mirror them. Talk with them and just work things through. And by all means, because of the emotional nature of a blue personality, limit your sarcasm or teasing. Now, if you are a blue, recognize if you're reading between the lines. You may be taking something very personally that is not in fact the case. And so you just really have to take a look at that. Add the word no to your vocabulary. This is often one of the worst traits of a blue, is not being able to say no. Speak up. It's okay to be direct. If you feel like you're not being heard, speak up. And finally, discern when you're rambling and know when to get to the point. People don't want to listen to all the drama. Now, here are the benefits of having blues on your team. Again, blues bring a great deal of enthusiasm to your team. They're your team cheerleader. They may make your best recruiters. They have a mentoring nature. Perhaps you have new members coming in. They might be the type of person to help with new member orientation, or to get a new member through some of the, often clubs have ways to, when you're a new member, things that you have to complete to get a certain badge, a special type of badge. Make sure that you include those blues in that mentoring project. They're great at team building. Blues are your folks that are going to take over a project, perhaps a pancake breakfast, and build that team that's going to make that pancake breakfast the best it can be. They're very supportive, so they might be your best friend when you're looking for support to try to shake it up. And we all know as Kiwanians, we often hear the phrase, "We've always done it this way." So if you're trying to make a change, they may be your biggest support. And they're very empathetic. So if there is some dissension, or if there is a problem, someone with a blues personality would be a great person to have on your team. So now we're going to get into the golds. Some of the traits of golds are they're extremely prepared. Golds like that structured environment. They're often well organized. This gold may be a good person to put in a secretary or treasurer position. Golds are very, very good at follow through and they're detail oriented. Again, that would be a great reason to have them be an officer or to lead a committee or to lead a service project. They love to plan, and that goes right back to their follow through and their organization skills. Planning an event, planning a function might be a good place to put a person with gold personality. Golds are very punctual, and you can count on them. They're often very procedural, so your golds might be those that say, we need to follow it this way because this is how it's set up. They're rule followers. Golds might be the person to whip the bylaws out of their back pocket and say, hey, we can't do this. This is not in the bylaws. Golds value tradition, but often they're very frugal. Some of the stressors in a gold personality is often there's a lack of follow through for them. Perhaps they don't adhere to their schedules or the plans. Real stressors for them is if you don't give them clear expectations, that's a very, very high stressor. One of the things that is known about golds is they have a sense of not knowing where they fit and not belonging. So make sure you include those golds in your decisions and in those social events you have outside of your regular Kiwanis work. Other stressors of them is if you are not consistent, there's no leadership and there's no master plan, that's going to drive a gold crazy. I mean, my mother was a gold personality. She's an accountant, and I can tell you right now, if it's not organized, my mom can't handle it. Sometimes the stress for them is being forced to neglect family time or traditions. Because they're so detail-oriented, because they're so organized, often they will be forced to miss some things, and that will cause them a lot of stress. Other stressors are missing deadlines. Again, having a mom that's an accountant, I can tell you when IRS time rolled around, that was a real difficult time for her because she's very deadline-oriented. And the other thing is, golds don't like rule breakers. Back to what I said in the beginning, they're more likely to whip those bylaws out of their pocket and say, we can't do this. It's not in the bylaws. So how they perceive themselves as stable and dependable, and they often are. They might see themselves as knowing what's best. They see themselves as being very, very responsible. They are goal-oriented in their eyes, and they see themselves as punctual. When I was growing up, I had a coach, and he used to say, when you're showing up for practice, show up in Lombardi time, 15 minutes early. So a gold will be a Lombardi time type of person. But how we might perceive them, or others might perceive them, are rigid and stubborn. Perhaps a little on the judgmental side, maybe bossy or controlling. We might see them as workaholics, and we certainly might see them as very rigid about time. So relating to Kiwanis, how would you talk to a gold? The best thing to do with a gold, because of their skills and organization, is to make sure you communicate in writing. Not a text, not a quick phone call and say, can you do this, this, and this, and this? Put it in writing so they have it in front of them. Don't interrupt a goal, because they are very specific and they're very punctual and they're very organized and they're very scheduled. So if you interrupt them and they're not allowed to say what they need to say, that might throw them off and they wouldn't be pretty happy. Be very specific, again, going back to the communications. Don't give them a lot of different options, be specific. Make sure you put closure so that the gold understand that there is closure to the conversation, not an open end. Certainly stay on target, the tasks, the topics, and the times. And also be consistent. If you are a gold, have patience when others talk in different directions. I understand that you might feel a certain way, but perhaps others don't, so you need to learn to be a little bit patient. Certainly be open-minded and consider other options. Because you're so structured from a personality standpoint, golds have a tendency not to be as acceptant of new ideas. So certainly be open-minded. Be aware of how hard you drive yourself and others. Ease up a little. And last but not least, accept others' way of doing things if the ultimate goal is the same. Benefits of the gold on your team is they're very good planners. So you want that gold person to help you out with a project because they're going to dot their I's and cross their T's. They're great for supervision. They are the people that are going to make sure that your project or your program runs smoothly. They're highly likely to help you with those key clubbers that are helping out with that pancake breakfast. They're very good about rules or policies. So if you're looking at making a change or if you're looking at structuring something a little bit differently, they might be a good person to have on that team. Golds are very accurate. That accuracy could be really, really important in a position as a treasurer or a secretary. And they're really, really good at organization and categorization. So keep that in mind. Again, when you're planning a project, when you're planning an event, they would be very beneficial. So now let's talk about the greens. Some traits about someone that is a green personality is you're innovative and inventive. How cool is that? Greens are great problem solvers. Greens have a why mentality, so they just want to know why. Greens are often calm, cool, and collected. Often someone with a green categorization is intellectual, often independent. They're very analytical and strategic. Their relationships are very logical. They're often perfectionists, and they're usually quite tech savvy. But some of the stressors for the greens are they're overly sensitive. So if one of your team members has a green personality, be careful about how you talk with them. Sometimes when you're saying something, it's how you say it, not what you say. Sometimes they stress over small talk because they're inventive and innovative and they're strategic, and small talk to them is kind of a waste of time. They do not like decisions with no data. So if you're going to work with someone with a green personality, make sure that you have data to back up what you're presenting. Greens don't like redundancy or routine. So they might be logical people to think a new service project for you. Other things that they don't like are red tape. They don't understand why you can't cross that line and into something new. And they don't like when they're made to look incompetent. Some people, a green personality would get extremely stressed if you kind of call them out in a meeting situation. So make sure you don't make them look incompetent. And they don't like when there's nothing new to look forward to and there's no variety. So again, they might want to shake it up a little bit. Now, how they see themselves as knowledgeable, confident, innovative, independent, and logical. Where others might see them as intellectual snobs, maybe a little bit on the arrogant side, maybe eccentric or weird because of their confidence and their innovation, maybe antisocial because of that. And often if you're thinking someone is a little bit arrogant or a little bit of an intellectual snob, you may view them as heartless. Now, how would you relate to Kiwanis when talking to a green? Is give them time to think. Be patient with them. Give them independence. So that person with a green personality might be the person that you choose to go out and research your new service project. In this pandemic right now, we all know we're going to have to make changes when we're able to get out and about again. Perhaps task that person with a green personality to do some research for you. When you talk to them, stick to logic. Again, they want things to be measurable, so make sure you're very logical when you're relating to a green personality. Definitely recognize their contributions and intelligence. We all know those people that, have higher degrees or have a great deal of experience in a given subject. Make sure you let them know that they're good contributors to your club. And certainly, don't misinterpret their need for information, because they are always thinking and they're always looking. So understand that they're not doing that to be arrogant. They're doing it because that is how their personality works. Now, if you are green, ease up on the whys. Ease up on the whys. Let others express their emotions. Understand that you don't need to fix things. Often, a green personality thinks that a situation, there's some dissension or something in the ranks, and they need to fix it. But they have to learn to listen and not fix it. I'll give you an idea. If you're a club coach, this is where you have to really, really pay attention, because sometimes when you're working with a club that's having problems, they don't want you to fix it. What you need to do is you need to sit there, you need to mirror them, you need to let them come to their conclusions. Because if you fix it, it's not likely to get any better. If you're green, save the debate. It is not worth a friendship or a relationship to feel like you have to debate an issue that you are not comfortable with. And definitely inform others when you're processing. Here are the benefits of having greens on your teams. They're great at information. Those are your research people. Those are your tech-savvy people that want to get on there and figure out what they can do to make it better. They're idea people. So these are your people, again, to reach out to and maybe do some research for you. Green personalities are often very, very creative. So use that creativity. They're good at objective decision making. Again, having that backup information and taking everything into consideration and be very objective in what conclusion they come to. They're very firm. They're not going to be wishy-washy. And they're great at critique and improvement. We're moving into the orange section. So we all know people with orange personalities. Orange personalities tend to be extremely energetic. So they like change. They're very playful. They might be a natural entertainer. The perfect person to MC an event would be an orange personality. They're often master negotiators, salesmen at best. Oranges like to push boundaries and push limits. Oranges are fine with chaos. Matter of fact, they're so fine with chaos that they thrive much better in a non-structured environment. They're spontaneous and carefree, but they make things happen. Some of the stressors for an orange personality is if they don't have a lack of choices, if they feel like they're trapped. They might be stressed and forced to keep quiet or not participate. If you have someone with an orange personality, by all means invite them to join in on the discussion. By all means invite them to join in on the decision making. They get stressed when they can't use their skills. They get very stressed when there's insufficient attention. Orange personalities do not like waiting or slow actions. They're reactive. They want things now. Orange personalities are uncomfortable and not happy with indecisiveness. An orange personality typically does not like routine. An orange personality is a very physical person, so they don't like lack of physical contact. Orange personalities are often stressed by all the little minutiae in the details or paperwork. And they also do not like inactivity or restriction of physical movement. So trying to get an orange to stay still is very difficult. Now, they see themselves as straightforward, to the point, as being able to keep their options open, as being easygoing, easy to get along with your buddy, as being very flexible, and as good negotiators. Others might say, oh my gosh, this person needs a filter. They're rude or they're blunt. Might see them as irresponsible, as not serious. But remember, they're always looking for something. They're always looking for something or wanting to negotiate or get in front of an audience. That's not being not serious. That's just a personality. They might see them as ignoring rules. It's not that they ignore rules. It's just that their personalities are the type that want to often look for something different. And others may see them as manipulative, but that really has a lot to do with more of a sales personality. Talking with an orange as it relates to Kiwanis, lighten up. Orange personalities are often very gregarious, and just keep that in mind when you're talking with them. Match their speed. They're often, flying left or right or, going off somewhere. Match that speed. Join them. Appreciate the flair. That personality is invaluable in a club. But be direct and to the point, because that's what they like. Now, if you are an orange personality, try to be aware of how you're coming across to people. Give them a little time to process. Maybe they're not thinking as quickly as you think. And certainly pause before committing to something. And the benefits of having oranges on your team is they have a tremendous amount of energy. They can't sit still. They're always wanting to do something. So give them those projects that require a lot of energy. They are good at risk-taking. So maybe you're not so good at risk-taking, but you need to take that chance on something in a project that you're working on. Get your orange people on board. They're great at entertainment. Again, your orange person is going to be the MC at that district convention, or they're going to be someone who can lighten up a room with a bunch of jokes. They laugh a lot. Orange people are traditionally pretty happy. They're great at the art of negotiation. Not everyone has that skill, so by all means, use their negotiating skills. And they're very honest. Often with oranges, you're going to get exactly what you see. So definitely use that honesty to an advantage. So thank you for joining us today. We hope we gave you a glimpse into how these wonderful personality profiles and traits can enhance the communication in your Kiwanis Club. So you'll see our references up on the screen, and we use these to come up with this presentation today. We hope to provide additional training like this in the future, so stay tuned. My name is Kathleen Moylan. I'm the membership chair for the Pacific Northwest District. If you have any questions, you can contact me at the below address, or I will be available after this presentation to answer some questions. Just remember, colors may change depending on your circumstances and your environment. There may be introverts and extroverts in each color. So folks, that's the end of our presentation. Thank you for joining us today. If you could type your questions into the chat box regarding anything regarding personality and teamwork, I'd be glad to answer them for you.
Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to our fourth session. I see we have some guests on our calls today. So does anybody have any questions for me? So I'll start with letting you know that we've been asked to do this session, kind of a condensed version for a number of actual club meetings. So if you're interested in this session, please let me know. So Gary, I'm not seeing anything on the screen. And I know a number of people that are on the call today have been on some of our sessions in the past. Again, one of the things to remember about these is they're not set in stone, and they're not a means to evaluate or judge someone. Actually, you can turn them to kind of a fun project for your club. We did a session yesterday with TCI, and we just kind of talked it through, and everyone seemed to have a good time. Is it better to have a team with all colors or just one to avoid conflicts? I think any team should have a composition of all the colors because each color has their strengths and can lend some talent to that particular team. I can use my Pacific Northwest membership team as a prime example, and I'll just use Jackie Sue and Greg Weidrich and myself as an example. We are completely different on the color spectrum. And we work beautifully together. There's no conflict. There's a tremendous amount of teamwork, and we balance one another out with our strengths and, of course, our weaknesses. Hi, Brian. Can you work with green personality if data doesn't exist? You know, that's a good question because, Brian, I am blue-green even. And so I would say I can work without data. I don't know if you lean strong green and you're very dominant green, whether that's possible or not, but that's really a good question. Come on, folks, there's got to be some more questions. Hi, Bob. It's great to oranges on the team because they're always juiced. So, Bob, you know Greg's an orange. I just wanted to throw that out for you. So it's always good to have oranges on the team because they are energetic and they're impulsive, and so it's good to have some of that. You need that to shake up your Kiwanis world once in a while. And by the way, Bob Munger's on my team as well. Hi, Linda. Have you found out that when someone is identified as a certain color, does that inhibit their participation ways of interacting within groups? You know, this is funny because this has come up a couple times, and what people have to remember is that this is just a guide, and it's just a friendly kind of an analogy of personality profiles, and that when you take it too much to heart, I think you're overthinking it. And you know, I always want to tell people, you know, lighten up when it comes to this stuff. And just because you see that you perceive these negative traits, or you're being told that these are not your best stressors or whatever, don't take that personally. Just don't take it personally. How do you recruit for personality types our group team might be missing? You know, I don't know if you necessarily recruit as much as you just really look at your group or your team and see what you are missing and kind of look to your target audience and figure out who those people are that might be missing from your team. I mean, recruiting in general, you know, I don't know how recruiting would, you know, because recruiting, when I think recruiting members. So if you're talking about recruiting from your existing club, I really think you really just have to get to know the personalities of your club to determine where you're missing that personality. Does any particular color make the best leaders? Okay, so I've had this question a number of times, you know, and I've had people say, oh yeah, greens are really, really good at this. And, you know, I don't know what particular color is the best leaders. I've got Brian Tenslinger and Brad Boyd on this call. Do you guys have, I know you guys have used this numerous times in the past. You guys have any input on that? I'd appreciate it. Brian Egger might even know. Betty Crawford. Hi, Betty. Where can we find the more detailed description of the colors you presented? So when we were putting this together, we used some old, this is like old data. So this stuff goes back to when I was in human resources in the 80s. So I've been using, for a lot of the presentations we've been doing, I've been using the Showing Our True Colors by Mary Missison, and I will make those available, that information available to the district office. And then I also, and the stuff that goes back to is Don Lowry's original works, but that stuff is really expensive. It's stuff I used in high-tech human resources. And then I kind of got involved in reading, or recently, because I haven't been doing this for a long time, is I picked up Mary Missison's book on personality lingo, which is using the power of personality to transform relationships and improve communications. And I'm finding that I'm more cognizant of my relationships with people as a result. And then Don Lowry's wife, Erica Lowry, wrote a book called The Color Guide to Life, Know and Live Your True Self. And I've been kind of reading through that. This is one of my newest ones because I think it helps you kind of work on yourself from within. Are there any other questions? Well, hearing no questions, let's explore the fourth object of Kiwanis.
Throughout man's history, it has become a standard thought that good citizenship fosters better communities. People's concerns for the welfare of others have bonded them together, noting that others have the same needs and desires as they do. To develop by precept and example a more intelligent, aggressive, and serviceable citizenship. Early in the Kiwanis history, even while the debate continued discussing whether we should emphasize trade or service, all agreed that Kiwanis should represent a higher standard. Its members should present to the world a unified front of upstanding good citizens. It became the daily goal to constantly provide examples of this good citizenship through visible acts of service, always striving to improve our world for everyone. Members were encouraged to always be on the alert for service opportunities, and when identified, to seek ways that Kiwanis could successfully serve those needs. And early on, Kiwanians started emphasizing assistance of underprivileged children. Living up to this object has continued to this day as we serve the children of the world. To develop by precept and example an intelligent, aggressive, and serviceable citizenship.
Hello! I certainly hope that you're enjoying the objects of Kiwanis. They are important to us as Kiwanians, but we so often don't review them with our new members. One of the goals of this CEC is to provide resources that will help you and your clubs build better teams. The first resource that we'd like to share with you are the Kiwanis websites. This one is the PNW Kiwanis site located at kiwanispnw.org. This is a site with a lot of information and it is designed to be user-friendly. Our latest video is in the center of the page and below it is the latest blog. To the right is the latest episode of our podcast channel. Above that is our membership, is our Priority 1 logo, which if you click on it, takes you to the membership page. Above that is a block of different buttons to give you quick access to an ever-changing list of important resources. The blue bar above has a number of great resources, including the quick resources, events, serve, learn, and lead, where you'll find a lot of resources to help your club. Excuse me. Moving to the next site now, and it is Kiwanis International, located at www.kiwanis.org. Make sure to notice the member resources at the upper right. That leads you to a large amount of member resources from KI. Remember that if you don't find what you're looking for, click the magnifying glass and type in your topic in the search bar. Next on the list is the PNW Circle K site at pnwcirclek.org. There is a lot of information there for your clubs to use to get involved with the Circle K program. The Kiwanis International Circle K site is at www.circlek.org. Learn about the service, leadership, and fellowship of the CKI program. When you need to learn about Key Club, start with the PNW Key Club site, www.pnwkeyclub.org. This is a great site to learn what the high school students in the PNW are doing. To get the overview of the Key Club program, you can go to KI Key Club at www.keyclub.org. If you have a high school in your club's area without a Key Club, start learning about how this program develops young people into leaders. Our middle school program, Builders Club, has a site at buildersclub.org to assist you in becoming familiar with this very important program. The Kiwanis Elementary program, K-Kids Club, can be found at kiwaniskids.org. Learn what programs are available and get your club involved. The final part of the Kiwanis family is the Action Club, and it can be found at actionclub.org. Learn what potential the Action Club members have demonstrated and see how your club can become a part of this program. Now we're going to hear about the fifth object of Kiwanis.
Throughout man's history, it has become a standard thought that good citizenship fosters better communities. People's concerns for the welfare of others have bonded them together, noting that others have the same needs and desires as they do. To develop by precept and example a more intelligent, aggressive, and serviceable citizenship. Early in the Kiwanis history, even while the debate continued discussing whether we should emphasize trade or service, all agreed that Kiwanis should represent a higher standard. Its members should present to the world a unified front of upstanding good citizens. It became the daily goal to constantly provide examples of this good citizenship through visible acts of service, always striving to improve our world for everyone. Members were encouraged to always be on the alert for service opportunities, and when identified, to seek ways that Kiwanis could successfully serve those needs. And early on, Kiwanians started emphasizing assistance of underprivileged children. Living up to this object has continued to this day as we serve the children of the world. To develop by precept and example an intelligent, aggressive, and serviceable citizenship. Humans are a social entity. We seek out the companionship of others. It gives us a societal bond. Not only can we do more as a group, but having friends gives us a warmth of satisfaction and the knowledge that the lives of others can parallel ours and be of great benefit. To provide through Kiwanis clubs a practical means to form enduring friendships, to render altruistic service, and to build better communities. You may note the objects tend to overlap in their goals, and this one focuses on becoming close to other Kiwanians, as the closeness and friendship facilitates an easy working relationship with others to achieve common goals. When the group of friends get together, they become a strong team with many ideas and solutions for identified needs. In Alan Brown's Kiwanis Creed, he recognized that one of the greatest assets of all is our friends, and that we should take advantage of any of these friendships to achieve common goals. How many times have you heard someone say, "I don't have that answer, but I do know someone who does"? Friendship and service are natural partners. The familiarity of one's working partners makes it so much easier to find common ideas and solutions. A better community becomes a natural result. To provide through Kiwanis clubs a practical means to form enduring friendships, to render altruistic service, and to build better communities.
You know, I do love being part of an organization with the values that our Kiwanis objects contain. I hope you're enjoying these short reminders of who we are as Kiwanians. The key to Kiwanis is the service projects we do for the children and our communities. Your clubs perform important service in your local area, but the district and Kiwanis International has major projects that our clubs can participate in. This multi-year project was completed and is now in the follow-up stage with the Children's Fund providing support. More information on this project can be found at kiwanis.org/Children's Fund and click on the Impact and Programs tab. UNICEF has hailed this project as one of the greatest public health triumphs of the 20th century. Kiwanis International and the Children's Fund adopted the Eliminate project. This project deals with maternal and neonatal tetanus elimination. More information can be found at kiwanis.org/Children's Fund. Read about how Kiwanis members and clubs are having an impact on saving children around the globe. The PNW has 3 major projects. The first of these 3 projects is KCCP, the Kiwanis Children's Cancer Program. It can be found at kiwanis-kccp.org. The 3 hospitals that are served directly by KCCP are Dornbecker Children's Hospital, Seattle Children's Hospital, and BC Children's Hospital. All 3 have a fellowship research program sponsored by KCCP that has the goal of researching cures for children's cancer. Contact John Brookins, Chair, for more information. The second project is for SIGN, the SIGN Fracture Care International. Simply go to the Serve tab on the PNW website and click on Kiwanis SIGN. Learn about how we change families' lives by providing the funds that allow SIGN to repair broken legs and restore mobility to children and adults. The third project is called SOS, for Save Old Spectacles. This project is found at kiwanispnw.org/sos.html. We save our old glasses and give the gift of clear sight to those who might otherwise have to struggle. Please check out the internationals and your district's projects and consider adding 1 or more to the activities of your club. It is very rewarding to benefit those in our community, and by reaching out through our joint projects, we truly can change the world. Now we will share with you the final of the 6 objects of Kiwanis.
To cooperate in creating and maintaining that sound public opinion and high idealism which makes possible the increase of righteousness, justice, patriotism, and goodwill. Once again, the objects interlock in purpose. This object tends to be a summary of the other 5. If we put priority on the human and spiritual, if we abide by the golden rule, if we hold high standards in our social, business, and professional lives, if we serve by setting a higher example, if we foster enduring friendships, and if we regularly work together, better communities and better lives for all will be the result. In Kiwanis' 25th year, International Trustee Thomas L. Husselton wrote, "There could be no stronger proof of the soundness of our objects than the fact that the customs and mores of the people could change so much, yet the objects could continue to serve so well. This quarter-century test has shown that they cannot be improved because they are so fundamental." 25 years later, then Kiwanis Magazine managing editor David Williams noted, "The objects helped chart the early course of Kiwanis, helped give the organization direction and guidance along the way. Today, they remain an inspiration and a beacon for any of us who choose to rediscover them. To cooperate in creating and maintaining that sound public opinion and high idealism which makes possible the increase of righteousness, justice, patriotism, and goodwill."
Hello again. I hope you enjoyed the objects of Kiwanis. I would urge every club to annually remind your members of these core values of our Kiwanis organization. As the Kiwanis is a 501c4 organization, we have had to develop several 501c3 foundations to give our members the ability to make substantial gifts to Kiwanis causes, while providing those members some tax benefit. So, if you haven't guessed, our next topic for resources we want to share with you is foundations. Please remember that the terms we use to describe foundations are the U.S. designations. Foundations are separate legal entities which are on a parallel path alongside their parent organization. Neither the foundation nor the parent is allowed to control the other, yet they can be unified in their mission. Many clubs have formed foundations to work in partnership with the club. The foundation increases the ability to the club to develop strong partnerships within the community that benefit everyone. Your foundation can be an important part of your club's work. I would like to mention the 3 foundations that can benefit your club and members. These 3 foundations provide scholarships to our youth and offer grants to our clubs to increase the effectiveness of our local Kiwanis clubs. The Kiwanis Foundation of Canada can be found at kfcdn.org and serves the Kiwanis clubs in Canada. It was formed in 1971 and governed by Kiwanians from the 3 districts that are located in Canada, and thus include our own district by virtue of having BC and the Yukon in our district. And they have PNW members who serve on that board. Greg Holland is the district chair. The Pacific Northwest Kiwanis Foundation is found at www.pnwkiwanisfoundation.org and is celebrating its 35th anniversary this year. The PNW Foundation is governed by a board of 16 directors and 6 officers. Richard Johnson is the current president of the board. The Kiwanis Children's Fund is the 3rd foundation that benefits our district, and it is international in scope. Information can be found at www.kiwanis.org/children's fund. We are very proud that our own George Cadman represented us as the president of the Kiwanis Children's Fund, for the 2018-2019 year. If you want more information on the Kiwanis Children's Fund, please contact Gary Jesperson, who is our PNW representative. Now we're going to play a video from Kiwanis International asking the important question, what if? And then we'll take a 5-minute break to give you opportunity to stretch your legs one more time. Thanks. Then we will be back with a great presentation by Jackie Sue McFarlane on membership in your club. I sure hope that you're having as much fun as I am.
Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed your tour of the office in beautiful downtown Gladstone. And if you got up to stretch your legs, we'll be able to review the parts you missed when we post this CE session on YouTube channel at the end of the month. Our last and very important segment for today is all about club strengthening. We will begin with a terrific presentation by past P&W Governor Jackie Sue McFarland. She is in charge of club coaching to aid our existing clubs, which is a very important part of our district membership team. I think you will get some great ideas that you can use to strengthen your clubs. Take it away, Jackie Sue.
My name is Jackie Sue McFarland. I'm a past governor of our Awesome Sauce District, and I'm here today to talk to you about, are you member ready? Open the front door, but keep the back door locked. So, are you ready? A few things I want to cover today is the importance of a membership chair. Doing a pulse check. I want to also spend some time on describing, are you or is your club member ready? I want to review the importance of a new member orientation, making sure that new members have mentorship. We're going to spend a bit of time also on exit interviews, and then towards the end, we'll have questions and feedback. With this though, throughout my presentation, please use the chat function if you have a pressing issue on your mind. Janelle will be keeping track of that for us. So, without further ado, let's begin. Club membership chair. How many clubs have a membership chair? You would be very surprised to find that the number is low. A club membership chair will work with everyone in the club to make sure their experience is enjoyable and attractive to prospective members. The chair will work with club members to make sure that we invite new members, engage existing members, increase visibility into the community. Now, does this sound like a job that one person can do alone? And the answer is no. Membership chair duties, they include develop an action plan to meet membership goals, plan membership drives and special membership events, plan and conduct new member induction and orientations, and share passion with Kiwanis. When you are the membership chair, you are the voice and typically the face for all of the membership activities in your club. So you need to surround yourself with others that can help you achieve this goal. As you all know, membership is our most important priority one. Membership means that we not only take care of new members, but the members we have. You need to be passionate about Kiwanis. You need to understand the importance of inviting new members. You need to understand membership programs, communicate effectively, engage, encourage, and motivate others. You need to be organized, focused on innovation, sound good judgment, and overall share with others. So, as a membership chair, one of the first main tasks that I would recommend you perform is a membership satisfaction survey within your club. It should be done annually or when there's a great change in the club membership. And that change can be whether it dropped or you added new members. The reason this is important is because you do need to assess the club experience in 4 different areas: club management, membership strength, community service impact, and also the member experience. This is an opportunity for members to give feedback as to how they feel about their club. For some of you that may know me, I like to tell short stories. I think short stories hit home, so I'm going to throw someone under the bus. The president of the East Spokane Kiwanis Club was contacted by Vicki Frucci, our member education chair. She wanted to perform a member satisfaction survey to the East Spokane Kiwanis Club. And he said, no, our club is perfect. We don't need it. There's nothing wrong. She hounded him. And so finally, to hush her up, he said, okay, fine, come and do it. So she came to the meeting. She facilitated the survey. She took all of the submitted surveys home. She tallied up all of the reports what am I trying to say? The results. She made a report. She came back to the club to present her report. Believe it or not, for the perfect club, there was 2 or 3 things identified. So George, at that time, he decided, all right, the people have spoken. So he had small committees put together to address the 2 or 3 issues that came up. The committees worked on them, report back to the club. So even though it was a terrific club, they became even better. There's always room for improvement. One thing that happened, if you can't tell throughout this process, is the club president did not facilitate the survey. He called upon a neutral third party to be the facilitator. The reason a neutral third party is so important is because if you are the club president performing the survey, and I'm going to fill out the survey on you or the club, and I'm going to hand it back to you, you may know what I wrote. You may be able to identify my handwriting. With that in mind, I'm not going to be honest. But if it is done by a neutral third party, the chances of the responses being honest are higher. So definitely call upon a neutral third party to be the facilitator. You as lieutenant governors can do this. You can do it with the help of our membership team through the district or your officers. Let's see. Next slide. Post-survey. The most important thing when you do conduct a member satisfaction survey is to make sure that whatever opportunities are identified, make sure you choose 2 or 3 of those opportunities and act on them. The reason being is if you let those opportunities go and you don't act on them, your people will not have the confidence in giving feedback next time. So whatever the survey shows, identify opportunities and act on them. Next slide. All of this leads up to member ready. What that means to me is your club member ready? Picture yourself inviting your 20-something son or daughter to your Kiwanis Club meeting. First of all, are they going to want to go? How physically challenged are you going to have to get them there? Will they have fun? Will they be comfortable there? Will they ever want to return, let alone would they ever want to join? So that's what I consider to be member ready. Your club needs to be welcoming and inviting to others. There are some things you cannot control, like your meeting location, how dim the lights are, or the prices on the menu. But there are other things you can control, such as having a greeter at the door, making sure the club meeting experience is the most positive it could be. You also need to make sure that every service project has a positive and heartwarming experience. If you can achieve this, then you may be member ready. To get member ready, your club members need to develop their elevator speech. So like me, in line at a grocery store, I got caught flat-footed. I had on my Kiwanis pin on my lapel, and somebody in line asked me, "What's that pin mean?" And I stood there, I didn't know what to say. Even for being a longtime Kiwanian, put on the spot, I didn't know what to say. So it's important that all of your club members learn an elevator speech. You're in an elevator, you're in line at the grocery store like me. They say, "What is Kiwanis?" Here's your answer. Some say you have 60 seconds to pique people's curiosity. Other people say you have 30, other people say you have 20, and some say you have 15 seconds. No matter how many seconds you have, it's a limited amount of time to capture their interest. So let's make an elevator speech. In the speech, you should have, why would someone join my club? What's our community? What's in the community that we need to be worried about? What type of impact does our club have? And how do we do it? So I want to read to you the Kiwanis International version of an elevator speech. Kids help Kiwanis around the world. Local clubs look for ways to have impact in their communities, while Kiwanis International takes on the large-scale challenges such as disease and poverty. We are generous with our time, we are creative with our ideas, we are passionate about making a difference, and we have fun along the way. So that's a very high-level elevator speech that is developed by Kiwanis. But what your folks need to work on is developing their own personal elevator speech, something that comes from the heart, is true to them, so that when they are in that grocery store line and someone asks, what is Kiwanis, they're going to be able to say it right away, and it's going to be real. All right, so let's move past. We're going to jump ahead. You have a couple of members that are ready to join the club. Two things that are very important for new members is a new member orientation. What's Kiwanis? Kiwanis is District, Division, and International. It's member expectations, service leadership, and Kiwanis objects. The new member orientation is presented with not only the sponsoring, or should be presented, not only with the sponsoring Kiwanian, but with the club leaders as well. We have both a written bullet point word version of a new member orientation. We also have a PowerPoint version. If you want either of those, let your leadership know. The reason it's important for a new member orientation is to make sure that they know what they're signing up for, what they're getting themselves into, and what they can expect. We don't want members to sign up for a year just because someone guilted them into it, or someone wouldn't get out of their office fast enough without that signed application. We want them to sign up as Kiwanians and be Kiwanians for life. You know, it was my third club that I joined before I realized that Kiwanis was actually an international organization. It wasn't until the Pasco Kiwanis Club took me into a room before I became inducted, and they held a new member orientation for me. And that's when I found out that Kiwanis International is a worldwide service organization. So my third club until I found that out. Next slide. Welcoming new members. So when we do welcome new members into Kiwanis, we need to make sure that we induct them. The induction should be special. It should be something memorable, something that you're proud of, something they're proud of, because it will give them a reason to continue to go out and gloat about Kiwanis to their friends. One thing that Pasco Kiwanis did is that when I was inducted, they gave me a folder. In the folder was my certificate that I could hang on the wall of my home or my office. It had my pin, my Kiwanis pin that I could wear. It had a copy of both the district and the international magazine, plus some local literature about their club. In it also, they had a blank piece of paper. And the idea was, for 3 meetings, all of the club members in Pasco Kiwanis Club were to come up to me, introduce themselves, and sign that piece of paper. At the end of the 3rd meeting, everyone who didn't sign it was fined. That was one of the requirements for me to get the good badge, because when I was inducted, I got this ugly gold badge, and everybody else had this really nice blue and silver badge. The other things I had to do to get that nice regular badge was be a greeter for 3 meetings, attend a board meeting, and attend a service project. Nothing too difficult, nothing too hard, but it kept me engaged right away in the club. And when I fulfilled all these points, I got my nice regular silver and blue badge like everybody else had. Also about the induction, when they get up and they tell the group about who they are, let them talk about their job. Let them talk about their family with no monetary fines. Get to know them. Also during the new member orientation, Let them know about the different committees that your club has. During that time, if they show interest in a specific committee, and you should encourage them to want to join at least one, when they pick which one they want to join, call the chair of that committee and ask the chair to give a reach out phone call as soon as possible to welcome to the committee. Keep the engagement, keep the Kiwanis momentum going for the new members. The next item is mentorship. When a new Kiwanian is in the club, don't just let them go on their own. Make sure that they have a mentor. It may not be the person that sponsors them into the club. It may be someone else that is more willing to be a mentor. Make sure that the mentor stays engaged with a person, and make sure that the new club member stays engaged with the club. If they're active or absent, both in a mental or a physical means, you need to check on them and find out what's going on. Keep them engaged. Let's say you have a member who decides, this isn't for me. I just don't know if I can do this. I think I'm going to quit the club. How many clubs perform an exit interview? We kind of got away from this practice, and we need to get back to it, because if we knew why they left, could we perhaps correct the problem? Kiwanis has developed an exit interview form that we can download and use. We truly need to find out why members leave. Even though we want that back door closed, we need to find out how to close it and keep it closed. So once we have a few exit interviews compiled, look and see if there's commonalities. What are we doing that we could change and perhaps close that back door? If you have trouble finding that form, it should be in your Lieutenant Governor binder. If not, contact your leadership. Let's start using it so that we can learn how to close the back door. Now, the next section of my presentation is tips and tactics. I want to give you a whole bunch of different information. Hopefully you're hungry for more information. I'm going to give you the tidbit to make you even hungrier so that you can come and ask more questions. So let's go through the first one. How many folks have a new member application on them, around them, in their car, close by? So if that person in the checkout line at the grocery store who asked about your PIN shows interest and they may want to join, having an application on hand could really benefit you and your club. They are free at the Kiwanis store. I would suggest that your club order a couple of packs, pass one out to each member, and have them put it in their glove box or their attaché case if they carry one. Make sure it's readily available in case you've got someone interested. The reason for that is if you do have someone who's interested, but it takes you a bit of time to get them that application, the person could change their mind, and we don't want that to happen. So have a new member application at hand. When your club president comes up to you and says, we need to grow, we need to gain members, and he says or she says, should we invite? Who should we go out and talk to? Chances are the membership is just going to be deer in the headlights. I have no idea who to talk to. I can't think right now. But what if the club president came up and said, you know what, let's target financial institutions. There's a dozen banks in the town or the county. We've only got 2 or 3 banks represented in our club. That means we have opportunity to add 8 or 9 more. Let's go out and get them. How do you do this? Analyze your membership by using the roster analysis sheet. The roster analysis sheet will take a look at all of the occupations of your current members. It will help you determine who isn't represented or what occupation or industries aren't represented, who's missing. There's nothing wrong with going out and saying, you know what, Umpqua Bank and US Bank, they're both members. Why aren't you? Nothing wrong with dropping those corporate names and making sure that they know, those 2 banks found a reason to join, maybe we should too. This leads you also, there's different types of membership. There's the corporate membership. So if they don't want to have one person be that membership all the time, they could join as a corporate membership, same price as a regular membership. They send a representative. The representative's typically the same person over and over, but if they can't come one day, they send someone else. So if they don't want to have Joe Smith join, the bank manager, have Umpqua Bank join and send Joe Smith when he can. Just a thought. The next tip. How many clubs use an agenda? Most do. But did you know that the agenda is not your grandfather's Buick? It can be a marketing tool. On the screen, I've given you a very small, use your glasses, snippet of a sample agenda. This was appropriated by a Spokane club who has been sharing it all across the district. What's nice about this agenda is it's got the words to our songs. So if you do have a guest speaker or a new member or just a guest, and they come in and you start singing the national anthem or O Canada and they don't know the words, they're just standing there. You're actually giving them the words so they don't feel so uncomfortable. What's also nice about this agenda is on the left-hand side, the navigation bar, you have the officers and the board members of the club. Perhaps they're going to recognize one of those names. If they recognize one of those names, it's kind of like name dropping. Silent name dropping. I didn't know he was a member. Maybe I should be too. You also can put on the back side of this agenda what your club participates in, who they give money to, and then also a calendar of all of your upcoming activities. This would be a good document to send out to all of your membership prior to the meeting. If someone's on the fence post, I may not be able to attend this week's meeting or not, perhaps the guest speaker would make them commit to coming. For those that can't come, it would keep them in the loop, let them know what's going on, keep them informed. I would also send it to all of your past guest speakers, all of your past guests, and then don't forget your district leadership to keep them informed of what you're doing. So please, an agenda is not just an agenda anymore. Think of it as a marketing tool. Think of it as a communication tool. If you need a copy of this to edit for your clubs, just let us know. How many folks have thought about Remember? Remember is something that's been around for ages. Remember is you've had members of the club that for whatever reason, they have quit. Maybe the reason that they quit is no longer valid. Maybe it was their job. Maybe it was their personal life. Maybe it was their, goodness only knows. Maybe it was a personality conflict with somebody in the club. Invite all of the past members to a special member event because perhaps the reason for leaving the club no longer exists and they want to rejoin. Your club secretary has the ability to download the roster of all of the terminated members. That is your resource for who to invite. Make sure that when you have a Remember membership event, you remind everybody what your club has been doing, what you're up to, and what you're doing next. Everyone has their heart that they're going to feel first before just going to another meeting. So remember. Show your members you care. Have you gone to a club meeting and someone's missing? They've been missing for a meeting or two. Where are they at? Are they sick? Have they been traveling for work? Why aren't they here? Well, instead of just wondering and asking these questions to the air, have someone responsible for reaching out. Send them a card that says, "We miss you." It's in everyone's DNA to feel missed, to be wanted, and make sure that they know that someone noticed they're not there and cared enough to reach out to find out why. So make sure if someone has missed 2 meetings or more, reach out to them, find out what's going on, and care. One thing that we don't do well in Kiwanis is market our clubs. We forget to make sure that the communities know who has had that fabulous pancake breakfast or who just handed out the free bicycle helmets to children. We forget to make sure that the community knows what Kiwanis does. So make sure that you market your club during all of your meetings, your service projects, social media, news media, local chamber, community and schools, etc., etc. It truly is the best kept secret. The sign that you see here on this slide, I actually downloaded from the Kiwanis International website. They have a lot of graphics, flyers, posters, and signs that you can download and use. You'll see a few of those later in my slide as well, but go out, find them, and use them. Make sure the community knows what Kiwanis does and who they are. All right, so let's talk about the virus. Did you think for a moment that you would be in the middle of a global pandemic? No idea this could happen, but it has. We're all here today, we've survived it. But what are we going to do when our governors open up our states, when we're allowed to meet again like we used to? We need to think about it. There's going to be a new normal, and none of us know what that new normal is going to look like. We don't know what it's going to look like, feel like. What will our children think about the new normal? And what do we think about the new normal? We need to start thinking about it because it's going to happen, and it's going to happen sooner than we think. So what I want to propose to you is, I want you to use one of the ACE tools that's available to you on the Kiwanis International website. One of the first tasks that I think clubs should do when their communities reopen, when you can meet again, when you can start making an impact, is to use the Rediscovering Your Community ACE tool. Our communities are going to change. We're not quite sure how yet, but they're going to change. It's inevitable. And we need to make sure that our clubs can keep up with that change and change with them. If the clubs continue to do what they've always done, they're going to be irrelevant and they're going to be shortcoming in the community. And that's the last thing we want to happen to our clubs. So the rediscovering, the surveys help clubs gather data about the community needs for the people. They also help to identify the club in partnerships with others who, who might partner with others to address those needs and strengthen relationships in the communities, like your town council, your city council, your mayors, your police, your fire, your emergency system, and especially your community schools. What I like most about the Rediscovering tool is that it has a step-by-step process that will lead you through the survey. It will give you how to create a contact list with all those entities I just named, identify team members. Not every Kiwanian is able to go out and talk to the city mayor. Oh my gosh, I think I'd get just as tongue-tied as I do right now with you folks. So find those Kiwanians that can go out and talk to them. Schedule and conduct interviews. And what's really cool about this tool is it gives you open-ended questions. And the open-ended questions are awesome, trust me. You can then debrief with the results of all of the meetings that you had with the community leaders. And you can decide, how does the club proceed? Your club will need to check, adjust, and change. The reason being is you need to be more meaningful, more relevant, and have greater impact in your communities. We can't say those words enough. Your clubs also need to be innovative. They need to be acceptable to virtual options. Some clubs are meeting these days over Zoom or other means, and that's good. They're finding that it's not half bad. But there's other clubs that aren't meeting at all, and that worries me. Clubs need to be willing to try new things, and they need to keep their focus on service in their communities. And while you do that, highlight what you do. So I've shared a lot with you today, and I think I shared it way too fast. But I hope that some of the topics that I touched on do make you hungrier for more information. You have a great support system. I'm here for you. Governor-elect Lonnie is here for you, as well as Governor Melanie, your district office and staff. And be sure to use each other as well. Bounce ideas, share ideas, best practices with each other. And when you just can't come to a good conclusion, reach out for help. As lieutenant governors, you're not in this alone. You do have a fabulous support system. You just need to make sure that you do use it. This next year, I hope you have fun. It's going to be challenging. It's going to be new. Everything that lieutenant governors normally did may not be the same that you need to do going forward. You may be writing a new path. Make sure that you do keep your district leadership informed about what you're doing. They could help out, but I also know that they want to know what you're up to so that they can applaud with you. Call upon each other and ourselves. I am part of the membership team of the district. I'm one of the five main persons on that committee. I am the person that's in charge of club strengthening. So this is going to be my pitch to you. We need club coaches. Club coaches are special people that can go in and help a club identify their issues and guide them to new solutions. It's not a person that goes in and says, you're doing it wrong, or my club does it this way, so you should too. So if you know that special person that could be a coach, let me know. We have a lot of clubs that need help, and I need a lot of special people to be coaches to do it. So with that, I'm going to open it up.
Good afternoon. So I've watched this presentation now about 4 times, and when I was in Pasco, Kiwanis, I didn't know just how big Kiwanis was, but I just heard myself say that Kiwanis International is a worldwide organization. Why didn't I pick up on that? So anyway, just one of those funny things. So there's some questions coming through. Is there a minimum or a maximum size for club to be an effective club? Wow. Gary or Ed, I'll get you back for this one. There's no easy answer. The minimum and maximum, I've seen clubs of 8 do incredible service. I've seen clubs of 70 sit around and drink coffee. It just depends on the makeup of the club. It also depends on the energy and the strive that the club members have to be relevant and effective in their communities. So personally, I don't think there is a true number that makes a club effective. It's the people that make up the club. I honestly feel that way. Another question is, how many members would be considered a strong club? Gary? Well, we know that charter strength is 15. But again, I think I have to refer back to my previous answer. It depends on the makeup of the club and the energy and what they do in their communities. Again, there's no easy answer. One question that I get asked a lot is, I volunteer my time, my energy, and my sweat, but why do I have to pay dues? I look at the dues payment as an investment, because when I go out and I do volunteer, if something were to happen to me or to someone that we touch during a service project or an event, Kiwanis International supplies us with liability insurance that protects us so that our own pockets won't be touched, or at least won't be touched as much, because they take on the umbrella insurance first. They also provide us with all of the training tools and graphics and materials that are available to us, most of them at no cost. We've also got the magazine and then the district magazine. So I personally look at the dues payment as an investment. And I think it's a smart one, especially for that liability insurance. Another question from PNW Kiwanis TV is, how important is it to celebrate the introduction of a new member to your club? I think this should be a standard procedure in every club. When you have someone that wants to join Kiwanis, you have to celebrate the fact that they're joining. It gets them started off on the right foot. It makes them realize that, okay, they just didn't show up for another meeting and they're sitting in the back of the room. They're actually a part of that club, a part of that group, and it's welcoming them into that atmosphere. So let them get up, introduce them to the membership, let them talk about themselves, their job, their family, their wants, or their desires and their passion. And then what I would do is make sure that someone, especially after the new member orientation, assigns them or asks them to pick a committee for them to join right away. Because the biggest thing that we fail to do is to not engage our members enough. And that's how we lose members at the end of the year. So make sure that you are engaging them as often as possible. So Brad Boyd just answered, the average size of a Kiwanis club is 38 members. I'd rather have 15 actively engaged members rather than 40, which only 8 are involved on a regular basis. So yeah, great point. That's the old 80-20 rule. 20% of the people doing 80% of the work. Phil, regarding membership survey, should it be announced ahead of time or surprise members at the meetings? No, I would totally announce it. The way I would, in fact, we're doing some right now with the membership team in your district, which is open to all of you. So we want the leadership of the club, your officers and your board members, to buy into the idea that a membership satisfaction survey is needed, especially annually or after the club demographics change. Let your members know that you're going to perform it. Let them know that if you come to us and ask us to help you, which I want to, call me. We will send it out so that the club members know that it's done confidentially and that whatever answers are given, it's not going to be, geez, Kathleen, you said in the survey this, I'm not your friend anymore. We don't want that. We keep it confidential. We will summarize all the totals, aggregate data, throw out what we see as opportunities for the club to work on. So definitely announce it to your members, encourage them to complete it honestly, and get it done so that we have the most responses back to make the biggest impact on the results that come out of it. So what your membership team through the district has done is we've purchased a subscription to a like SurveyMonkey, but it's called Survey Legend. It's a little bit cheaper. And we can actually perform the survey for you. All you have to provide us is the email addresses of your people, and then let them know that an email is coming from me. Does a club coach need to be a member of the club they are coaching? The answer is no. I have my grandkids with me today. So it is preferred to... It's preferred to not have someone in the club coach their own club. That's the worst thing you can do.
That's you.
I know, just a second.
That's you.
They need to be
That's you.
someone outside of the club that can have a unbiased opinion and help. And people will listen, I think, to... It's okay, Grandma. People will listen to someone who is neutral, third party, and not necessarily the one person in the club that cries wolf the most. And I didn't say that right because you just got me off track, but that's okay because you're so cute. All right.
Your phone.
I know, my phone just went off. Let's see. Oh, reach out to the membership team for us to prepare surveys that are specific to your club needs. definitely, we would love to start getting. I know it's you too. We would love to start getting this survey tool out to folks. It makes it so much. Here comes the other one. It makes it so much easier in today's climate. So please reach out to myself, to Kathleen, Bob, Roger, and also Greg Wegrick. My email address is jacksuemac@icloud.com. And from the three of us and my mom, who is probably fretting right now, thank you so much for being here. So without further ado, I want to entice you to give your attention, just a second, to a great video from the Key Club on shoes. So everybody say bye. Say bye. Bye.
Shoes. Shoes are made to protect and comfort our feet. Shoes help us do the things that make us who we are. Shoes come in all kinds of shapes and sizes. Some are for decoration. They show personal style and individual expression. Some are built for a specific purpose, to get the job done. Shoes help us work. Shoes help us play. They support us. They protect us. Shoes are an extension of who we are. They remind us of where we've been and where we want to go. Shoes are made to get us to the place we're supposed to be. Shoes are like Key Club. Shoes are made to take us places. Places you've never been. Places you've been 100 times. Places that will be better because you came. And places that will make you better after you've left. Key Club is where people meet and friends are made. It's where you learn about life while you have the time of your life. It's about following in the footsteps of others and blazing your own trails. Because no matter where you want to go, it all starts with the first step.
That was an inspirational video from Kiwanis International. I love the shoes. And I have to say, I've seen the video, the presentation from Jackie Sue before, but what a perfect ending with the grandkids in the room. Don't change a thing. Hello, I'm Lonnie Johnson, and I will be your governor for the 2020-2021 administrative year. It is my pleasure to introduce the following Kiwanians as essential parts of my team. District Secretary, Ed Luttrell. District Treasurer, Janelle Lawrence. SLPs, CKI, Tyson Deep. Key Club, Brian Egger. Builders Club, Nicholas Hafez. K-Kids, Roy Henson. Action Club, Jackie Sue McFarland. Alignment, Dr. Mike Wilson. Building, Greg Holland. Club Achievement and Signature Project, Evelyn Chapman. Finance, Teresa Venn. Fundraising, Cindy Carruthers. Partnerships, Beverly Triplett. Interclubs and Social Networking, Trent Spradling. Tech Advocate, David Crozier. Laws and Regs and Resolutions, Chuck Charles Angelico. Parliamentarian, Lauren Lee. Risk Management, Bill Glenn. Youth Protection, Vicki Frucci. Lieutenant Governor Class President, Ken Smith. Past Governors, Jackie Sue McFarland. Past Lieutenant Governors, Bigfoot Brigade, Greg Garcia. Membership, Kathleen Moylan. Awareness, Kiwanis Builder and Bulletin Editor, Ed Luttrell. Communications, Media, and Judging, Linda Newman. Marketing, Public Relations, Gail Spurrell. Historian, Patrick Ewing. Events, Conventions and Conferences, Linda Newman. Education and Training, Vicki Frucci. International Convention, Melanie Bozak. PNW District PAC, Steve Imhoff. Foundations, Canadian, Greg Holland and Ann Pinner. PNW Foundation, Ron George. And Kiwanis International Children's Fund is still to be announced. And as I announced last week, our international counselor and international vice president, Bert West. And the rest of my team are the lieutenant governors and most importantly, the officers and members of your club. Now let's hear from our two candidates for governor-elect for 2020-2021. Give all your attention in alphabetical order to Marty Fanko and then Greg Wiegrich.
Hello, PNW Kiwanians. I'm Marty Fanko from the Kiwanis Club of Southwest Spokane. I have served in several leadership positions in my community. One thing that I learned, you can't do it by yourself. You need to delegate. I joined Kiwanis in 2007 and I was treasurer of the first club that I joined. I served as the Southwest Club's president. I was also a two-term lieutenant governor, 2016 to 2018. I also served on the district on Jerry D's team as social networking chair. I envision growth from the bottom up, starting with SLPs. This will be a team effort. Let's start at the bottom and work our way up. K-Kids through Key Club and CKI. If we have a K-Kids in a community, we need a Builders Club. Why? Because we need to keep our young people moving up. Then if we have a Builders Club, we need a Key Club. Keep moving those young people up. This works in reverse also. If you have a Key Club, you need a Builders Club to draw from. A Builders Club needs a K-Kids to draw from. If you have all three, you have built a good base. From Key Club, if those young adults choose higher education, find a college with CKI or get one started. For those who don't go to college, they need to connect with our Kiwanis clubs. To make this work, we need the right people in the right positions, meaning club advisors. They need to introduce our young people to the next step, K-Kids to Builders, Builders Club to Key Club to CKI, or your Kiwanis Club. Key Club seems like an untapped resource to me. Our advisors need to invite Key Clubbers to our meetings and educate them on what Kiwanis is. CKI needs to connect to local clubs also. Some go on to start a career or start a family. They need to be involved in their community. What a better way than being a Kiwanian? Families are going to have kids, and what I say to that is kids need Kiwanis. We also need action clubs, as people with disabilities can be very helpful in our communities. How do you make your clubs exciting again? What made people want to join your club in the first place? Was it a community project or a fundraiser or both? Why not do a community assessment? We have the tool, and get that excitement back. If your community sees that excitement, they might want to join you. Also pick the minds of other clubs in the PNW. Clubs need to share what they do district-wide. The PNW is a large district, so let's make it grow and be exciting too. Let's get all our clubs to charter strength. The right people in the right places make the team effort work. That's why I'm asking for your vote at the district convention in August.
Hi everyone, I'm Greg Wiegrich. I'm sorry we can't be together during this COVID-19 pandemic, so this video will have to suffice. I'm running for governor-elect because there are many kids in the PNW whose needs have not yet been met. I am also committed to improving the experiences of our members and our clubs. Let me start with my qualifications for the position, which I believe have prepared me to take the district to the next level. In my business career, I held leadership positions with consulting firms. My last was as vice president for the Western U.S., bringing together diverse teams to enable our clients to be market leaders. I also have board and fundraising experience with 5 nonprofits. In Kiwanis, in addition to serving for 2 years as Lieutenant Governor, I held 3 positions at the district level. As CKI Administrator for 7 years, my job was primarily to grow and develop leaders. I will share these skills with the broader PNW district. This is my 2nd year as new club opening chair on the membership team. Our team works to expand the district's reach and bring impactful service to new communities. I have experience in how to open new clubs and strengthening existing ones. I also served on the PNW Finance Committee for 5 years, so I understand what it takes to keep us financially healthy. I feel my combination of business, nonprofit, and district leadership experiences have prepared me to be an effective governor-elect. Here's my platform: focus on membership, develop Kiwanis leaders at all levels, and promote impactful service in all our communities, all while having fun. We do amazing work in the PNW. Our service leadership programs differentiate Kiwanis from all other service organizations. Growing our family, our service leadership programs, by increasing the number of K-Kids, Builders, Key Club, Circle K, and Action Clubs will be one of my objectives and priorities. My club started at K-Kids at a Title I school. At the year-end assembly, a teacher introduced herself and said she was initially unaware of which students participated in the after-school programs. After 3 weeks, she said she knew exactly which 4 students were in K-Kids by the change in their helpfulness and interaction with classmates and their renewed focus on schoolwork. She said K-Kids had changed the trajectory of these students' lives. Such a powerful statement. Right then and there, I just had another amazing Kiwanis experience. I mentioned impactful service. To ensure we're doing impactful service, it's important for clubs to regularly reach out and assess local needs and opportunities. We have excellent tools to support this effort. In regard to membership, I will prioritize the district's focus on strengthening clubs, revitalizing under charter strength clubs, and opening new clubs. We have great tools and processes. We need to expand our team of coaches, and we need additional education for clubs. The data shows that clubs with membership chairs exponentially attract many more new members than those that don't. I will urge every club to appoint a membership chair and team. We need more under charter strength clubs to see the value in revitalizing their club and to be excited to do so. Lastly, we need to continue to open new clubs in large communities and small. Many of the successful processes of new club opening have been instrumental in strengthening existing clubs and attracting younger members. If your club needs help, let the district membership team know. As to leadership, I believe focusing on succession planning to help us identify and develop leaders for our clubs, for our divisions, and for our district is a priority critical to our future. Every division needs a past lieutenant governor's team to help with succession planning and provide coaches for new and existing clubs. Obviously, an investment in training will be a key component to our leadership development. I have a theme for my campaign. There is so much unmet need in our district. My theme will be Just One More. There are many Just One More opportunities for clubs and members. Let me share a few examples. Just one more membership chair, just one more club member, one more service project, one more family club sponsored, one more past lieutenant governor's group formed, and one more leader identified and trained. You get the idea from these examples. There are many more. Choose one for your club and personally, and make a more impactful difference in your community. Thank you for listening to my qualifications and platform. I'd really appreciate your vote and your help in taking our great district to the next level. I look forward to seeing you at this year's virtual DCON in August. There promises to be many learning opportunities, many fun activities, opportunities to network with old and new friends, and participate in the House of Delegates where your vote will count. I also look forward to discussing how our organization needs to evolve as we learn about our new normal. I would be delighted to participate in any of your virtual division council meetings. Just let me know how and when. I'd love to hear directly what you see as important needs for your clubs. I leave you with be inspired and be inspiring. Thank you and stay safe, everyone. If you'd like to contact me by email, my address is jgregw@aol.com. And to text or call my cell phone, my number is 360-441-7082. Thank you.
Hello. Lonnie and I certainly hope that you have enjoyed our first ever virtual Club Excellence Conversations. We thank you for attending. And please use whatever you learned during the past 3 hours to begin the conversations in your club to create excellence in the coming year. We want to encourage all clubs to plan and hold ongoing conversations and to conduct some planning sessions to help you grow and engage your members. We are far stronger as a team and will accomplish so much more together than any of us could on our own.
We also plan to continue the conversations with more of these virtual seminars on more topics. We will be sending out a short evaluation and really want you to tell us what you thought of this session and what you'd like to hear more of. We have some ideas for future sessions, but we need to know what you want and need to help your clubs. And last, before we go, the entire team wants to encourage you to register for the upcoming first ever Virtual District Convention, or DCON as we often call it. It's only $25 US, and if you register by today, you get a convention in a box, with the first 300 getting our unique 2020 convention pin. Registration closes August 10th.
The convention schedule is on the website, and the info is in the builder, which is in the mail already. Remember that to be a delegate, you must be registered, so do not delay. Also, we have designed a special 2020 convention t-shirt, so look for the order form on the website and get it back to us by September 1st. I say September 1st because if you don't already have it ordered and you still want to get one, and it does apply to all of 2020, not just the convention, then we will mail it out to you by the end of the year. So thank you for attending, and remember that the best way to show that you like today's effort is to recommend to your fellow Kiwanians to join in August 21st to the 23rd for DCON. Wait, we're going to have some fun. Until then, let's all be, Lonnie,
Kiwanis
proud.